The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Kim Richards has had countless personal dramas play out before the cameras. She's battled demons over the last few decades, and not just the ones we've seen on Bravo. In the early 90s, Richards was engaged to commodities salesman John Collette. But on October 28, 1991, Collette was tragically killed. He was speaking to Richards on a phone outside a Northridge, California deli when a hitman shot him twice in the head, execution style, killing him instantly. At the time, Collette was under investigation for his part in defrauding 8,000 elderly investors out of nearly $150 million. Prosecutors were able to prove that the killer was paid to murder Collette and put him behind bars for 30 years to life, but they never learned he was behind it. Collette's mother, Jan Collette, spoke with People magazine in 2010, recalling, "It just tore Kim apart emotionally, and she was not in good shape for a long time. She really loved John. They were a good match." During the season 1 finale of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Kim and her sister Kyle Richards got into a heated argument in the back of a limousine.
And Mom had to die worrying about you and stressing about you and leave this on my shoulders.
After Kim accused Kyle of stealing her house, Kyle took their beef to another level.
You are a liar and sick and an alcoholic. That's right, I've said it now and everybody knows.
The fight escalated to the point where the other passengers tried to intervene. Kyle called her sister demented and more, but something apparently clicked. During the season 2 Real Housewives reunion special, Kim owned up to her alcohol problems.
I'm an alcoholic, and I drink.
The fallout from the notorious limousine fight led to a serious rift between the two women. In a blog post written by Kyle after the scene aired, she said, "My heart was broken and I suffered an incredible amount of anxiety and panic attacks. Next to losing my mother, this was the most difficult time of my life." But all hope wasn't lost. In December 2011, following the dramatic conclusion of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 1, Richards checked into rehab. Kim and Kyle continued to work on their relationship. And in a 2011 interview with People, Kim shared, "It's a day-by-day thing that we work on because what happened was extremely painful. It's not going to cure itself overnight, and hopefully we will grow past all that happened and move forward and get stronger and stronger." The sisters did eventually find their way back to a good place. Kim admitted that the treatment she received in rehab helped her become a better version of herself. By the end of 2013, she told People she had turned over a new leaf with her sister.
Kyle and I really were able to put it together during this Christmas.
In fall 2024, however, Richards' sobriety took a hit. In September, TMZ reported that Kim and Kyle were at a Hilton hotel when Kim got out of control. Police were called, but she refused to leave when asked, so the LAPD arrested her and took her to a hospital where she was placed under psychiatric hold. An insider told People that Kim's battle with alcohol addiction had caused a serious rift between her and her sisters, Kyle and Kathy Hilton, driving them to their breaking point. The source explained, "It particularly weighs heavily on Kyle, who has always been the worrier of the family. She does her best to take care of Kim, and essentially bankrolls Kim's life with Kathy, but never knows where the line goes between helping and enabling." Later that month, police were called to Kyle's Los Angeles home where Kim had been living. According to TMZ, Kyle told authorities that the family wanted Kim to leave, in the hope that cutting off contact would serve as a wake-up call. Police advised Kyle that she'd have to file eviction papers if she wanted her sister out, and left Kim in the house. Kim's periods of sobriety and full-on relapse have cycled back and forth for years. While the family has been mostly quiet on the subject, Kathy did tell People, "We love her and we support her, and that's all I can say." Richards made headlines in the spring of 2015 when tabloids caught wind of one of her children receiving psychiatric care. The Beverly Hills native has 4 adult children, daughters Whitney, Kimberly, and Brooke, and one son, Chad.
I feel like I'm her caretaker because she's fragile physically and emotionally.
According to Radar Online, one of Richards' kids was admitted to a psychiatric facility in the South Bay neighborhood of LA. An unnamed source claimed, "This wasn't an involuntary psychiatric hold, but it came very close." The individual has battled with depression for years, and it's unclear at this point how long they'll have to remain in the hospital. This is obviously very, very hard for Kim.
I did the best I could.
The news came at a difficult time for the reality star, who was struggling with her on-again, off-again relationship with her sister Kyle and had recently come out of rehab. Richards is no stranger to a pair of handcuffs, and we're not talking about the fur-lined kind. In April 2015, she was arrested for drunken disorderly conduct at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Did you try to kick a police officer in the groin?
I don't remember that. Honestly, there were 8 of them.
She ultimately pleaded no contest to resisting arrest, leaving her with a 3-year probation sentence and an embarrassing story to tell. In addition to her probation, a judge ordered her to attend Alcoholics Anonymous meetings for 1 year and perform 450 hours of community service. On top of all that, she was banned from the hotel for the foreseeable future. Richards claims she was over 3 years sober at the time of the arrest, at least until earlier that evening. According to what she told Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live, she was driving home after having a drink at her daughter Brooke's house when she stopped at the Beverly Hills Hotel to rest for a little while, until she sobered up. Unfortunately, she refused to listen to the hotel employee who told her they were closed. And in her words, one thing led to another. But if you think Richards learned her lesson, think again. Later that August, she was arrested for stealing from Target. According to the incident report obtained by TMZ, Richards attempted to get away with 2 shopping carts full of goods from the dollar section before she was caught. A security guard grabbed her in the parking lot with $600 worth of stolen goods, including dozens of toys and beauty products. Richards pleaded guilty to petty theft and was sentenced to 36 months probation, 52 hours of Alcoholics Anonymous, and an additional 300 hours of community service. Richards appeared on Dr. Phil shortly after her first arrest in 2015, but it probably didn't go the way she expected. She, of course, talked about what happened leading up to the Beverly Hills Hotel arrest, and some of her children asked her to go back into treatment for alcohol. But Richards wasn't up for a program that wasn't to her liking.
Would you be willing to do a 60-day program?
Not more than 30 days.
That's when the interview went off the rails. After 2 of her daughters and her son admitted they didn't want her mother to come home in her current state, Kim asked,
Is this an intervention?
Her kids tried to make her understand that they loved her and had her best interests at heart. But Richards wasn't having it.
I just want to
We'll
stop
help
now.
you.
I'm done. I don't want to do anything.
I'm not interested in your diva needs.
When Dr. Phil told her he'd set up a treatment program near her home, as she'd requested, Richards shot him down and stormed out.
I have a lot of anxiety right now.
Okay, just relax.
I know I don't. I have
No,
a lot
just
of anxiety. I'm
sit down.
sorry, I can't.
Months after the episode aired, Kim checked herself back into rehab. She'd originally gone there after her 2015 arrest, but left against medical advice to attend her daughter Brooke's wedding. According to what Richards told Entertainment Tonight, the event was super stressful, and she doesn't quite remember what happened.
I looked on the ground and there were like 2 half little margaritas. And I think I drank one.
Richards was again faced with tragedy after losing her ex-husband to cancer in 2016. She married actor and writer Monty Brinson in 1985, but they split up 3 years later. They remained on good terms, however, as they co-parented their daughter Brooke in the years that followed.
He's definitely was the best friend I've ever had in my life.
Brinson was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2014. He went in for a checkup and came out with a terminal diagnosis. In a blog post, Richards described learning the news and what happened after, writing, "The words you never want to hear, and the thought of telling our daughter. Over that week, we decided to have a wedding with just our immediate family, so that we could be sure that Monty would be able to walk Brooke down the aisle."
I was glad he was going first because he didn't think he could bear if it were me and then he had to be left here.
Richards remained by Brinson's side up until his death 2 years later, often posting photos with him to Instagram and expressing her gratitude for the time they spent together. In one, she wrote, "Having you here, Monty, is the best gift of all. I love you so much, Monty." As for Brinson, he kept his positive attitude throughout his treatment, grateful for the amount of love and support he received by way of his ex-wife's life in the spotlight. In 2015, he took to Instagram to post, "I felt love from all over the world and it's made my heart stronger than ever before. So I like to thank God for letting me experience this journey, and hopefully it will help others through my experience to live life with love." Brinson died on January 24th, 2016, at the age of 58. If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's national helpline at 1-800-662-4357.